fix this helicopter, I'll kiss you right now." CEO mocked the single dad janitor before everyone. The roar of the private helicopter echoed across the company's rooftop. A crowd of executives stood nearby, dressed in sleek suits, their laughter barely audible over the noise. The CEO, a confident woman in her late 30s wearing a sharp navy outfit and dark sunglasses, turned toward the trembling machine and snapped at her assistant. "Who approved this maintenance? The engine won't even start," she shouted, frustration mixing with embarrassment. Reporters were waiting for her at the charity event, and her helicopter, her symbol of power, had chosen the worst possible time to fail. Down near the hangar door, a man in gray overalls was mopping the floor. He looked up quietly, noticing the panic. His clothes were faded, and there were grease marks on his sleeves. He was in his early 40s, with tired eyes that carried both warmth and exhaustion. He had been a janitor here for years, known by no one, noticed by even fewer. Everyone called him the quiet guy, though few knew he was once an aircraft mechanic before life forced him into cleaning jobs to support his little daughter. The CEO's voice cut through the tension. "We're losing time. Someone call a technician." The janitor hesitated, gripping his mop. Then, slowly, he walked forward. "Ma'am," he said gently, "I used to fix engines. I think I can help." The room went silent. A few executives chuckled under their breath. The CEO turned, arching a brow. You mop floors, right?" Her tone was sharp, mocking. "Fine. If you can fix my helicopter in the next 10 minutes, She smirked, half amused, half cruel. "I'll kiss you right here in front of everyone." The crowd laughed. Phones were out, ready to record the janitor's comedy show. He didn't respond. Without a word, he set down his mop, rolled up his sleeves, and climbed toward the engine bay. His hands moved fast, steady, practiced. He listened to the clicking of the ignition, sniffed the faint trace of fuel, checked a loose coupling. Within minutes, the sound of the rotors changed, a steady rhythm returning. The helicopter came alive. A collective gasp filled the air. The CEO froze. Her smirk vanished as the engine roared smoothly. The laughter stopped too. The janitor climbed down quietly, wiping the grease off his hands with a rag. "It was just a blocked fuel line," he said calmly. The CEO stood speechless, her pride cracking under the weight of what she just witnessed. Reporters waiting below had no idea that the most important event wasn't the charity gala. It was this moment. She took off her sunglasses slowly, her expression softening. How did you know?" she asked quietly. He shrugged with a faint smile. "Used to fix these things. Before." He paused, his voice catching slightly. "Before my wife passed, I needed flexible hours for my daughter, so I took whatever job I could find." Her throat tightened. Around them, the silence was heavy. One of the younger executives whispered, "He's the one who comes in early every day, brings his kid sometimes, the little girl who waits in the lobby reading books." The CEO's gaze dropped. She had seen that girl before, always polite, always smiling, but she never asked whose child she was. "I didn't know," she said softly. "I'm sorry." He nodded, gently taking back his mop. "It's all right, ma'am. We all do what we can." As he turned to leave, she stopped him. "Wait," she said, voice trembling slightly. "I don't break promises." He looked at her, confused. Before he could react, she stepped forward, not with arrogance this time, but humility, and gave him a warm, respectful kiss on his forehead. The entire rooftop fell silent again, this time not from shock, but from something deeper, respect. When she pulled away, her eyes were glassy. "That's not for fixing my helicopter," she said softly. "That's for reminding me what real strength looks like." He smiled faintly, picked up his bucket, and walked away. The sound of the helicopter still humming perfectly behind him. And for the first time in years, he didn't feel invisible anymore. The next morning, the office buzzed with whispers, not about the CEO's event, but about what had happened on the rooftop. For years, the janitor had been the silent shadow who kept the building spotless. Now, people were greeting him in the halls, smiling, offering coffee, even thanking him for things they'd never noticed before. But he remained the same, humble, quiet, focused. When he returned home that evening, his little daughter ran to him, her hair tied in messy braids, a picture she'd drawn in her hand. "Daddy, the lady on TV said your name. She said you fixed her big helicopter." He laughed softly, kneeling to her level. "Did she?" She nodded eagerly. "She said you're brave." He hugged her close, holding her a little tighter than usual. "You know, sweetheart," he whispered, "sometimes people forget what others can do until they really need them. So no matter what, never stop being kind, even when no one's watching." That same week, the CEO walked into the janitor's small maintenance room. She wasn't wearing her power suit this time, just a plain white shirt and jeans. She held an envelope in her hand. "I've been thinking about what you said," she began quietly, "and about how much this company owes people like you." She handed him the envelope. Inside was an official letter, offering him a full-time position as chief maintenance engineer, with benefits, flexible hours, and a scholarship for his daughter's education. He stared at it, speechless. "Ma'am, this is too much." She shook her head gently. "It's the least I can do. You didn't just fix my helicopter, you fixed my perspective." But tears welled in his eyes, but he smiled. The same humble, grateful smile he always carried. As she left the room, she paused by the door. "By the way," she said softly, "I wasn't joking that day. If I ever get stuck again, I hope you'll still be around to help me find my way." He chuckled, nodding. "Anytime, ma'am. That's what I do." Months later, during a company charity event, the CEO stood on stage and told the story to hundreds, not about a broken helicopter, but about a man who reminded her that greatness doesn't wear a title. It shows up through kindness, humility, and quiet strength. And somewhere in the crowd, a little girl clapped proudly, her father smiling beside her. Proof that one act of compassion can change not just one life, but many. The helicopter still flew perfectly, but it was no longer the symbol of power. It was the reminder of a promise. That kindness, when shown in humility, can lift people higher than any machine ever could.